Okay, 60 years since its inauguration or inception. So it has become a habit for me now to leave them alone when they start all their. I also have some very special friends here. I can see Chief Uzo Inokoye. You're welcome. I can see Tijoke Nebe and Ike. Okay, that senior moment has come in again. All right. Okay, so while we're taking our interlude of music, we will have the refreshments served, and then we come back to listen to the powerful presentation of Chinelo Joe Ezigbo. She's the reason why we are here. Okay. Yeah, just to add to what Ezaro has said, as I Googled for prominent persons who are also dyslexic, I found out, it turned out, I would say, that former Prime Minister Gordon Brown of the UK is also dyslexic. And then President George W.H. Bush, that's Bush Jr., is also dyslexic. So I want you to imagine what their fate would have been if they were in Nigeria. And they would have just been called Isiaku. Eh? Yeah. I love the Hausa word, kain kwakwa, which means coconut head. So they would have just been completely disregarded. They wouldn't have a fighting chance at all. What we intend to do today is to start the process where every child is given a chance to, actualize their potentials. I have a friend whose daughter has never been able to finish any exam that she goes to attend because she requires more time to read through her questions and then more time to even write them out. And when you're putting such children in competition with normal kids, they don't stand a chance. So our call here today is to ensure that no child is left behind, regardless of the circumstances, not financial, but differences in the way they read or in the way they apprehend things. Thank you so much. Major Band. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, quick one. So while you're having your wonderful moment enjoying the music and enjoying the food, just take some time, just a few minutes, to scan the QR code that leads you to a form where you get to fill that shows that you attended this event. Thank you very much and for having a wonderful time. Prof, my chairman, can we get back to our seats so that we can continue? I have a few recognitions to make. There's Emmanuel Buwadoka, or Chuma Ayanwa, Chuma Ayanwa. You're most welcome here. And then there's Chief Ugochukwu Akamibo, Ezana Aka Jama Ara of Bo. You're most welcome. Now, did you notice that the two highnesses, His Eminence and His Royal Highness, read their messages from their phone? I had that difficulty each time I tried to read from the phone. It became difficult because somewhere along the line, my phone would shut out and I would have to go back to open it up again. So I decided to do what I call the old-fashioned way, print what I needed to say. But I looked at both of them and I felt really very old-fashioned. So next time, if I have to be a compare, I promise you that I would make sure that I read through my phone. I have to, I honestly have to scale up, as it were. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, please, can we just have one moment or one house so that we can proceed with the business that we have at hand? Please, can we? Yeah. I have also amongst us my friends from Abuja, some delectable young friends that I have from Abuja who are here to grace this occasion. I think when next we have a speaker who is unable to hold his microphone while delivering his, I will have to ask one of them to come and hold the microphone for him. That will make it a bit more attractive. All right. So, Sherry, you're welcome. Chichi, you're welcome. Michelle, you're welcome. Am I missing somebody? Twinny? Tiny? You're all welcome. My Abuja crowd. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. I would like Prof to be here when we will invite the daughter, Chinelo, to come and make her presentation. But I can't even find Chinelo myself. Chinelo? Chinelo? All right. Let me, you're already familiar with her story. You're already familiar with her story. And each time in the course of this preparations for the launch, she was very critical in ensuring that we used the right language so that we were always conscious of the fact that one little mistake, you might be, stepping on the sensitivities of a dyslexic person. So her presence in our midst helped us shape our language, helped us shape our understanding of what dyslexia is and how it can impact on people and how best it can be managed. So at the heart of the foundation's work lies the issue of dyslexia, a learning difference that remains widely misunderstood. To help us better understand dyslexia from our perspective, I now invite Ms. Chinelo to share a narrative that...
Dyslexic, I don't like speaking publicly. Right. Thank you for having me. Right. Different is not less. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, respected educators, parents, professionals, partners of the foundation, and friends. Thank you for being here today and for supporting a cause that is about something very simple but very powerful, protecting the potential of our children. Let me begin with a picture. Imagine a little girl sitting quietly in a classroom in Nigeria. She's trying her best to follow the lesson, but the words on the board seem to move. Letters do not stay still. Reading feels harder for her than it should. When she's asked to read out loud, like now, her heart begins to race. The other children answer questions quickly, so she stays quiet. She never raises her hand. Slowly, she begins to believe something about herself, that she's not smart enough, that she's not trying hard enough, and she's somehow less. That is what dyslexia feels like. That little girl was me. Different is not less. But for many years of my life, I believed that it was. When I was growing up in Nigeria in the late 80s and the 90s, I was called lazy. I was called a daydreamer. I was called E.T., a word that roughly means dunce. What none of us knew then, not my teachers, not my parents, not even me, was that I was living with dyslexia. At that time, dyslexia was not part of our vocabulary. Teachers were not trained to recognize it. Parents had no framework to understand it. There was little awareness and no support. So like many children of my generation, I struggled silently. I remember watching other children read with ease. For me, the letters seemed to move all the time. Spelling felt uncertain. I also struggled with things that other children seemed to do easily. Copying from the board, spelling, following written text, even though when I understood the lesson when it was explained out loud. Looking back, those were signs that I processed reading words differently. For parents listening today, if your child is trying hard, but continues to struggle, it may not be laziness. Your child may simply learn differently and need support. I never raised my hand in class. I stayed quiet. I learned to make myself small. And because no one understood what was happening, the conclusion was simple. I was not trying hard enough. But what I want to say clearly today, not only for myself, but for every child who has ever been misunderstood, I was not lazy. I was not unintelligent. I was unsupported. And that difference changes everything. For my parents, I want to say with love and gratitude, you did the best you could with the knowledge that you had. There was no awareness system to guide families. In your own way, you both supported me as best as you could, even without fully understanding what was going on. As a child, I did not fully understand those moments, but as an adult, I do. I understand the worry, the confusion, and the helplessness of loving your child deeply and not knowing how to help. But the truth is, many Nigerian parents are still living that same story today. Without being diagnosed, children begin to doubt themselves. Children become quiet in classrooms. Children who think differently are sometimes misunderstood. And slowly, a child's struggle with learning can become a struggle with confidence identity, and selfhood, just like my dad said. Everything changed for me when I moved to the United Kingdom and I was diagnosed in my early 30s. I remember the relief that I was not broken, that I was not the problem, and there was a name for what I was struggling for so long. And then I received support, extra time in exams, assistive technology, simple adjustments that removed barrier. Those adjustments did not lower standard, they revealed potential. And with that support, I completed a double degree in mental health nursing and social work. And for 20 years, I've had the privilege of working in health nursing and social work, supporting individuals and families through some of the most challenging moments of their life. That journey has strengthened my belief that when people are understood and supported properly, their potential can truly flourish. That is why I'm speaking today. I bring my lived experience, my professional training, and my commitments to Nigerian children. I am committed to work with schools, speaking to parents, engaging professionals, and helping build a greater awareness of dyslexia across our community, and that they are less simply because they learn differently. And today I invite you to join us, the Joe Ezigbo Foundation. Let us protect the confidence of our children. Let us support families who are searching for answers. Let us equip teachers with understanding. Let us build communities where children are seen, supported, and celebrated. Let us move from silence to understanding, from sympathy to structure, and from awareness to action. And for all these possibilities, the potential of what we can achieve today, I want to pay a strong and heartfelt tribute to the founder of Joe Ezigbo Foundation, my father, Professor Joseph Chukura Ezigbo. His vision has created a platform that allows this conversation like this to happen today. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to contribute my voice to that vision. Before I close, I want to leave you one simple sentence. A sentence for the children who came before us, a sentence for the children among us, and a sentence for the children who are still to come. Different is not less. That is the message I wish someone had told me, the little girl that I once was. If you remember nothing else today, remember that. And I would like us all to say it together. Different is not less. Difference is not less. Thank you. God bless.
Can we give her a resounding round of applause? Difference is not less. It's going to be a major tagline or sound bite that will come from this launch. Difference is not less. Yeah. Well, we're going to have it as a major tagline. Thanks for offering us that. Ladies and gentlemen, awareness must be followed by action. We will now hear about the current realities of dyslexia in Nigeria and the strategic plan of action by the Joe Ezigbo Foundation. This will be presented by Mrs. Ne Ora Amasionwu, who will outline the foundation's interventions in advocacy, early screening and detection, teacher capacity development, development of culturally appropriate learning tools. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mrs. Ne Ora Amasionwu. Before I yield the floor to her, let me note that Mrs. Nde Oreama Siongu is a member of the board of trustees of the foundation. And then she's also a key member of the technical team on dyslexia.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do a presentation on dyslexia, but as I walk through my presentation, I want us to see the strengths. We've been talking about the shaming, the name calling, everything, but today I want to show you the other side of dyslexia and what we will be missing if we do not support these children. So we're going to be changing the genius. So it's often said that Nigeria's greatest export is its brilliance. They're rated for its resilience, its can-do spirit, and its ability to solve complex problems. But today, we must speak an uncomfortable truth. In many classrooms across our 36 states, millions of brilliant Nigerian children are currently sitting in silence. They are labeled. We've heard all the names. Today I learned some more new names that I didn't know. So I know Olodo, I know Iti, I know Oburueke, and all of that. So you can fill in the gap in your own local parlance. And today I also want to say that label is a lie. Science tells us that the dyslexic brain is not broken, simply wired differently. For the big picture rather than the small print. It is a macro processor in a micro processing world. These children are not lacking in intelligence. In fact, many of them possess the very traits that make our nation great. They are high-level problem solvers. They have vivid imagination and an amazing ability to see the big picture and to think outside the box. But their genius is locked behind a door they cannot open alone. So, today, we are not just launching a foundation, we are launching a movement to ensure no Nigerian child is left behind because of how they process a page or how they learn. We are here, like I said, to change the narrative from disability to diversity and from shame to strength. I invite you to look past the struggle and see the genius, and to help us turn the key so that together we can unlock the Nigerian genius. So to get started, I want you to be students. I need 2 volunteers, please. I'm a teacher right now. Two students, please. Nothing allowed. Yes, thank you so much. Stand up, please. Yeah, you will just read something for me. One more, please. No, Eunice. That is my business partner in brain ability. No, she knows what I'm going to do. You can't. All right, sir. Yes. Okay, so let's start with student number one, okay? So I want you to read this sentence. Go ahead, give it a try. Good, 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 good. Thank you, thank you. So that sentence just shows how many dyslexic individuals struggle with crowding. So the words are jumbled together. So, sir, second one, sir. Okay, so let's decode this one. Oh my God, this is not working. Okay, so she read it right. So that is what that is saying. All right. All right, sir. Okay, sir.
A bright child can be labeled dull simply because they cannot tell the difference between Q and CL.
Okay, let's see if you got that right.
What? Okay.
Where am I clicking?
And a D.
Okay.
Q and a D.
And a D. And a D. So that simulates the common challenge of distinguishing between letters like B, D, P, Q, and NU. All right, so for this third one, I want all of you to partake in this. So the third sentence. Okay. Okay, are we done? All right. So let's see. All right. So can you read it now? Okay, so most of you eventually figured out the sentences, but it took you some extra time and extra mental energy. So I want you to see that dyslexics are not dull. They are working twice as hard as everyone else in this room just to get past the first page. So this is what it feels like to be in the classroom, to be given a written paper, to read. Chinelo just told us words jump out of the pages. They move around. This is their reality. And it is because of the wiring of the brain. So I'm going to walk you through the science of dyslexia. So we are talking about advocacy. So by the end of my presentation, you can go out and say, no, that child is very clever. Don't even mess. Don't mess with them. Okay? All right. So science shows us, we're going to decode the dyslexic mind now. Science shows us that while the dyslexic brain may struggle with microprocessing like reading, putting sounds together, they actually have hyper-developed brains for high-level skills. So that is why I say that dyslexia is a sophisticated trade-off in brain architecture. So the microprocessing skills are difficult, like reading, but when you come to seeing the big picture, being problem solvers, they excel in that. Okay? So our definition today will be that dyslexia is a gap between a child's massive potential and their reading, their writing, and spelling speed. And the Joe Ezigbo Foundation is here to bridge that gap. That is why we are here today. So we want to give the right tools to these children to unlock the genius that we know that is there. Okay. So, still decoding the dyslexic mind, we're going to talk about this dyslexia spectrum. So, we know about autism by now. You remember when autism was such a big deal and parents were hiding their children and nobody will come out and say, oh, my child is autistic, because they were called idiots. That's one of the names they were called, imbecile, things like that. Well, dyslexia also exists in a continuum. So it occurs from mild to severe. So they are classified into 3 basic processing categories. So the language core, the phonological dyslexia. So when people talk about dyslexia, this is most often the one we are familiar with. The inability to sound out words, to read. So this is most times hereditary, but it can also occur due to a traumatic brain injury. So like a stroke, right? And then developmental dyslexia, like the name suggests, is present at birth, and the child or the individual has generic difficulties with reading. Then we have the sensory gateways, auditory dyslexia. This has to do with how an individual hears sounds, and especially in noisy places, it's very difficult for them to process the sound. So sometimes they misunderstand instructions. You might see a child covering their ear all the time, Then visual dyslexia, difficulty processing the visual look of words. So what Chinelo was describing is a combination of phonological and visual, because words keep jumping around the pages as if they are moving. Then we have the advanced challenges. So deep dyslexia is a very rare kind. So the person makes frequent semantic errors, so they are not able to, like they're reading, they see a table, they call it a chair, something like that. And also directional dyslexia, where they are confused about right and left and they reverse sounds. Sorry. So, we are talking about the Nigerian reality now. Okay. So every speaker, or many speakers, have told us the statistics. 1 in 5 people. So equals over 40 million Nigerians. But the interesting fact is that 12.5 to 20% are school-age children. And dyslexia occurring 1 in 5 means that it is one of the most common learning differences, yet it is one of the most misunderstood. So like Prof said, we are the Olodos. We're not getting it. We're not getting it right. Okay? Then the impact is frustration. Chinelo shared her story. Eze shared about her daughter. Frustration. So can you imagine if these children did not have the opportunity to leave and go somewhere where they were understood? So think about how many children have dropped out of school because of the name calling, the frustration. So it leads to academic withdrawal. And the hidden cost is that we are losing future contributors in our economy. Actually, the World Bank and UNESCO data tell us that the economic ROI, I'm sure there are a lot of, my husband would like to hear this one. The ROI, because he's always asking what's the return on investment. So the ROI of early childhood literacy investments in developing economies is 1 naira to 15 naira. So that means for every just 1 naira that we invest in early literacy intervention, our society will be saving 15 naira. Right? So can we imagine it takes so little to make a difference?